One of the first things I learned is that I need a little bit of an office space in my home, and I don't need a lot of space for it. So I built a tiny little corner office, and it worked out for me. And believe it or not,
that, right there, right underneath the
I still
stairs.
use this tip. This is my current home office.
That's right.
I tucked it underneath the staircase. It's just a couple shelves. It was very inexpensive, but it's all I need because it's got a space for my computer, and it doesn't take up any room, which space is a premium when you don't have a lot of money.
Especially in Manhattan.
Yes,
I mean, we all live in small spaces, period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you find a little corner, make it work for you. For me, it was a home office. For you, it might be something else.
Right. I mean, and underneath the staircase is such
how are you gonna use that?
ton of wasted space.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and you never want to waste space when you don't have a lot to waste. Okay.
What's next?
Okay. Now, paint is your friend when you don't have a lot of money to spend because it can create details that didn't exist there before. And when you're thinking about a room, the details that make it seem high-end, a bit more expensive, are those decorative details like crown molding, chair rails, and base molding. So, what I did, and it's crucial that you get high gloss paint for this because it's all about tricking the eye. What I did is I painted these details into my walls, even though I didn't have the money to build these things in, and of course I was renting. It's not like I was going to spend that much money on improving the space.
And if you're renting, you're not allowed to put a lot of holes in the wall.
Exactly. What are you going to do? Install crown molding? No.
No, I don't think so.
But you can paint some crown molding.
That's very cool.
Use a high gloss paint so it's got a lot of contrast with the eggshell on the walls. And the next thing you know, you've brought in details that really make a difference for how you read the room.
It defines it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It really does.
This, I think, is super clever. The pegboard is amazing.
Yeah, this is, I love. It's the quincunx. We're going to get there.
Okay.
One thing, you're right next to it, this piece of wicker furniture, I found this online. The key when you don't have that much money to spend on furniture is to look for things that are out of season. You can find them on sale in stores. You can find them on Craigslist. You can find them online. Wicker is great because a lot of people think it's going to go outdoors. And so as, of course, the winter months come, these go on sale.
Like dirt cheap.
Like dirt cheap. Sometimes they even just want to give it away.
Yeah.
And that's how I found it.
You can get these in like basket shops for a couple of bucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, when you bring in outdoor furniture, you got to remember to soften it up a little bit. Use some details that you've already used. Bring it in, and suddenly it looks like indoor furniture.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
Cheap and cheerful.
Okay, now come over this way.
Okay.
This one's fun. For me, when you first buy a bed, you buy that cheap little frame at the bottom, you buy the box spring, you buy the mattress, and that's it, right?
Yeah, it's basically, you know, whatever the cheapest mattress is on a frame, and
you're done. Yeah, and a couple of IKEA sheets, and you forget about it. Now, a headboard elevates the bed, right?
It's cool, yeah.
It's cool. You can find expensive ones, inexpensive ones, or you can make your own, and this is where it gets really inexpensive. I found these cheap tin tiles, which, you know, these are actually plastic.
They're little plastic fake tin, nothing.
Yeah, you can use these as
you pull the stickums off the back.
And you just slap it up, and of course, I don't know.
You do this in your kitchen, too, and make an inexpensive bed.
Absolutely, and look how effective this is in elevating the bed to be, you know, just a beautiful detail.
Really cute.
Right?
It's adorable.
This actually is reminding me of that room I had back then. It's like...
I can see him going like back in the day in his head, right?
And you can paint these too. These look great painted, so if you needed to work with your decor, feel free to do any kind of details. I spent less than $100 on this. These are
That's amazing.
Yeah, very inexpensive.
It's nothing. It's cheap and cheerful.
6 tiles, less than $100, super easy. Okay, now let's get to the quincunx. This pattern is called a quincunx. But before I get to defining that...
That sounds dirty, doesn't it?
Google it, but be careful what you type. Now, you have to use vertical space in rooms where space is a premium.
Right.
I like to put storage up as much as I can. So a quincunx is a pattern that we use in architecture all the time because it's visually arresting. It keeps you interesting. So if you're going to use all this wall space for storage, and I brought some accessories here. This is how I use it.
By the way, this stuff came from his actual apartment. He brought in his pillows and his clothes.
I literally did. Now, a quincunx is just a fancy word for this diamond pattern. But the idea is to make it visually interesting for yourself because you're going to be using this wall to store things. Let me just put this guy in here.
If I did that, the quincunx would be right through my finger.
Quincunx.
Whatever, that thing.
Yeah. This is great for ties, it's good for bags. For ladies, it's good for jewelry, it's good for scarves and purses. I use this all the time, and I'm seriously getting flashbacks here because I would keep my architecture bags and stuff on the walls. I put my hats up.
up.
Thank you very much.
This is so
This
cool.
is accessorizing. Okay.
Ties.
Ties. Like, this actually looks good in a room, too. I mean, you don't have to.
It looks like you had one hell of a party last night.
Oh, Rachel, you know me well. Okay, and finally,
This room is looking pretty good.
already, right?
Right.
I'm literally about to take a nap here. One last thing. When you're thinking about how the room works for you, shelves go such a long way. You can essentially create your own furniture and make it work for you how you want it to. The key is to use some paint to tie the whole thing together.
I love that, how you've defined all of the it's not furniture, it's just a piece of wood shelf.
Exactly.
And two brackets.
A piece of plywood, and you can have these cut for you at any hardware store. You can buy these brackets super inexpensive, and as long as you use this paint to tie the whole thing together, and we're gonna finish this last shelf out right here. Check it out. This before was a white shelf and a white line. By adding just this little bit of paint, suddenly you've got this built-in
It
look.
looks like a piece of furniture.
Exactly.
Right.
And you've
Very
spent
clever.
almost no money.
Very clever.
Now let me just remove these tapes. Oops.
Do you need this stuff, John? Do you want me to bring this stuff over and you can
And most crucially is my little clock right here, because you know I use a 1922 alarm clock. Ta-da!
Ta-da! You know, and what about your artwork? Are those just photographs or what?
I just took these on my iPhone and printed them onto canvas. They're super inexpensive
And
as
look,
well.
it's amazing. It looks so great. It's awesome. Oh,
I'll take the hug.